The background, it's my son. He's still awake.
Oh, shoot.
So that's just in case you're wondering. Do
How
you
old
guys
is he?
want to say hi?
Oh, hi.
He's almost 2.
Okay, fun.
So, okay. So are we live?
We are.
Yay.
So I'm Grace Osteen.
And I'm Melanie Black.
Alrighty, so we can go ahead and get started. The first question for the group meeting is, having completed the book, A Sacred Duty, how has your understanding and perception increased on the process of international policy and law?
Joel, did you complete the book?
Yeah.
Okay, so I finished the majority of it. I don't know. I didn't finish the epilogue.
Uh-huh.
So I don't know what I'm missing from there exactly. But
Yeah.
I thought the book was awesome.
Mm-hmm.
I could have read it really fast and been done with it, but I didn't want to because I really liked it, and so I
Yeah.
wanted to take my time. But let's see, having completed the book, how much understanding perception. I feel like my understanding is so much more. Let's see.
Oh, yeah.
I think it's just crazy how much I didn't understand about the whole process and how I mean that article that speech that he gave in the beginning, kind of making people aware of the influence that they have in the United Nations and how it's not just for nothing. I mean, I thought that was pretty interesting because they do have a lot of influence, even though they're not making laws, right? As far as I understand,
Yeah.
but they're really influencing nations. I mean, basically, what gets accepted in the United Nations becomes acceptable for everyone, right?
Yeah, I actually completely agree because I feel like I didn't really know really anything about international policy and law, especially about the United Nations. I knew it existed, and I knew, there's someone from every country, representing, and um, but my husband and I lived in New York last summer, and we're moving back there, but he works, the place he's going to work at is really close to the United Nations in New York. And he would tell me that, and I'm like, oh yeah, but I really didn't know anything about it. But reading this book, I have such a better understanding of what they do, and yeah, I had no idea of the influence they had, and the things that went on, and I just thought it was really cool, and it just taught me so much, and I didn't realize how much they really do. It's amazing.
Yeah, and I thought it was cool, how he broke down kind of what brackets were and kind of what they were trying to do and trying to change the brackets or I just thought it was cool just learning all that just because I didn't know any of that.
Yeah, me either. Me either. But yeah, it was
Yeah.
cool learning about it, and I mean, it's nice to know just kind of what goes on, and I mean, obviously, it's just good to have knowledge about that stuff, and I never really did before, so now I do.
Yeah.
Uh, so the next question is, what role did you see the Lord playing in Professor Wilkins' efforts to advocate for the families of the world, and what lessons did you learn for your own efforts?
Well, I got so excited during this whole book. You could just see. I mean, and he pointed out God's hand in everything he was doing. I mean, just how much influence he had. The odds were completely against him. how they mistook him for someone from Harvard, so he got to speak to way more people than he would have. And, just little stuff like that is just, you could just see God's hand and everything.
Oh yeah, there were some instances in situations that seemed like they could have been coincidental, but I mean, it was really just God giving him the chance to be an advocate for the family and pointing him to do that. And teach others, and I thought that was really cool that he had the opportunity.
Wait, he
So
had what? What did you say the last
I just
part?
thought it was cool that he had, the opportunities that he did, and that he
Oh, yeah.
couldn't have had it if God hadn't played that role in his life. So
Yeah.
yeah. So what lessons did you learn for your own efforts of advocating?
I learned that basically, sorry, Levi's being really loud.
That's okay.
Um, basically that, I mean, he felt pretty inadequate himself. I mean, he was just a citizen. I mean, yeah, he knew more about the law and he's a little bit more qualified in that area, but compared to the people that he was going against, I mean, he felt really inadequate. And I find myself kind of feeling that way or feeling inadequate of like, what can I do? But just as examples of just doing small things. I mean, he didn't do. I mean, he did do. They had a big influence, but they weren't like huge things that he did. And so just like keeping that perspective of even small things that we do can have a big impact, even if we don't see that impact. So, I don't know. What lessons did you learn? I guess that's the lesson that I learned.
Yeah, I think that's like I think about I feel like sometimes I'm like, well, what can I do to advocate for the family, to change people's opinions and things like that? And then I'm like, well, I'll just leave it up to the first presidency or, the bishops and the state presidents and things like that, because I'm always like, well, they have knowledge and, the priesthood and things like that. But after reading this book, it's like, wait, I don't have as much knowledge as them or, as much maybe influence over as many people, but with my own efforts, they may be small and I might not reach a lot of people, it can still make a difference. And I think that was something that this book was like, wow, it really can help, and that's all that matters. And,
Yeah.
okay, so even though the book was largely about Richard Wilkins' experience, what important supporting roles did you see others playing in this account?
So I actually saw like a lot of supporting roles that he wouldn't have done as well as he did had they been there. So the number one I think was his wife. Just because he just needed support, he needed help, and he constantly would call and she gave the support that he needed. And suggesting the proclamation and just being there for him. And I just feel like if she hadn't been there and been that supporting role, I don't think he would have done quite as good or been as confident. And
Yeah, I agree. I think that one, roles the others. It's important to see that they aren't doing it alone. So you don't have to do it by yourself. You can have others help you, and you might need support, and that's okay. And you get kind of a behind the scenes look at I guess just the supporting roles. I mean, I think it's important to see that they do have others helping them because it just it shows that they're not the only one making a difference. The people that are helping them are also helping them because they're being the ones to support the person and be there and help out, and so they're also helping to make a difference. And I just think even just by helping someone, being an advocate is just as important, being that supporting role.
Yeah.
All
Okay.
right. So, what are some consequences of family and religion from public policy?
Um. Hmm. Consequences of risk. I mean, like he emphasized so much in the book that manly way. Um. That family is the center of community, is the center of God's plan, but I mean, in the more professional or whatever aspect, I mean, you can't have a community without families, and families is where it all starts.
Yeah.
And I really like how he's like, in his speech, he's like, if you really want to get to the core of problems and improving your nation or whatever, the family is where it starts, and you get rid of the solid traditional family, then there's no way you can get to the core of any problem. I really like that he said that.
Yeah, I did too, because it made me think of like the world that we're living in right now. People think less and less about family, and people are thinking like, oh, they're people who believe in the traditional family are just living in the past and things like that. But we have a lot of problems now in society, and people don't realize it right now. But being part of the church, you can see all the problems that are happening with the same gender marriage and the single parent. It starts with the family. And I think that if people were to still view the family in the traditional sense, that there wouldn't be as many problems in society right now. It's become a very selfish society as well, and so I think that's part of the problem with not having kids, not having kids at all, or don't want kids. And so I just think that by taking the family out of the picture, it just creates a lot of problems. And like you said, you can't have community without a family, but also you don't have a support system without a family, and you're just it's just the core, I think, of a lot of problems that can exist without it. So
Yeah.
Based on the book, what do you think we can do about it? Does the author implicitly or explicitly make realistic suggestions for ordinary citizens as well as those in a position of power and influence?
Sorry.
No, you're fine.
So, does he implicitly? There's some suggestions that I put down are that he, I don't know if they were explicitly or I just got out of it, but so he said a few times that he felt very unqualified, yet through God's hand he was able to make a difference. And I feel like that is that is a suggestion in itself. I mean, just the fact that he felt so unqualified, yet through God's hand, he was very qualified. And I just think that's just a suggestion of um, not shying away from things, even though we feel unqualified. And I like that. And then also, he talked a lot about, I really liked what he talked about the Constitution and how our Constitution starts off with "we the people," and he thinks, or I agree, that that is the reason our country or our government works so well compared to other governments, is because it's run by the people. I mean, and so that I feel that suggests we the people, an average ordinary citizen can have a say and make a difference in, well, voting or whatever, have a say in what goes on in the government. And so I think that's a good suggestion too as well.
Yeah, I actually really liked that part, just because it was like, oh my gosh, I mean, I knew I had a say, by voting and stuff, but, I never really thought about how this country is run by normal people. And so it just got me thinking about how, because just in the past couple elections, I'm like, well, it doesn't really matter if I vote because, one vote isn't going to make a difference, but it still does make a difference because, you are being an advocate for your side just by voting, even if, you know, even if your vote doesn't swing things or anything like that, you're still being an advocate by voting for your side and for supporting, the issue or the person that you're voting for. And I just thought that was cool because it was like people of all genders and races and backgrounds can vote, and everyone has a different opinion, but I just thought it was so cool that, just to think about how normal citizens are the ones who have a say in the country, and we're the ones who have a say in, a bunch of different stuff that goes on. And so I think that's a good way for us to be an advocate. For example, I'm living in Idaho Falls right now, and there's a school bond that they are trying to pass, and it's pretty evenly split between people who are voting no for it and people who are voting yes for it. And I feel like me and my family, the way that we're voting is helping to support the issue and get the issue of what's going on with the school out there, and letting people be aware. So yeah, I just think no matter how small or big the issue is, you still have a say in it, and your voice is just as important as everyone else who's voting. So, you're going to be voting as well as someone who has a lot more money than you or has a higher status than you. So, I think that you shouldn't let your status in society or how unqualified you're feeling get in the way of supporting your opinion and your beliefs. So I just made that a lot more confusing than it should have been, but oh well.
Very good.
So that's that one. Are we supposed to also talk about the video and the other? Oh, maybe not. I think that's just in the discussion board. Okay.
Yeah, I think we're done. I think that's all of it.
Sweet. Well, sounds good. I sent an email to Allison, and she said that 8:30 doesn't work for her. She didn't say what time did, so I might send her another email and see if, I don't know what's going on.
Yeah,
so.
I've emailed her so many times saying we can change it.
Yeah,
if
she
we
was
want
like,
to, so I don't know.
yeah, I mean, she was like, everyone else in the group said the other times wouldn't work, but I didn't see anything about anyone else saying anything about any other times that wouldn't work, and so Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'll send her an email. I don't know. We'll see.
Is
She
she
said,
the only other one that
I
is in
think
our group?
so. Because, I mean, in the
Okay.
discussion board last week, because our discussion boards are with everyone in the Hangout groups too, and she was the only other person that posted, so
Yeah.
the drift I got. I don't know.
Hmm.
But, well, sweet.
Oh,
I guess,
do we need to do a summary?
oh, yes.
Okay,
Um,
I can do the summary. Do we just kind of go through each question, kind of what we
pretty much just
talked
like,
about?
from what I understand, just kind of, yeah, summarize the overall answers and things like that, I guess.
Okay, so the summary of ours is we basically both were on the same page and kind of were in the same situation and both learned a lot from the book. Both of us thought the book was awesome in first of all helping us understand better the process of the laws, international law, and policy. Neither of us had really realized how much influence the what is it called, NA, um, has on everyone. I mean, he really establishes in the book that what goes on there can have an influence on everyone. So really like that. We both had seen the Lord's hand at not only where Professor Wilkins had mentioned or had talked about the Lord's hand being in there, but there's so many steps along the way that the Lord just made it all happen. And even when the odds were completely against him, um, God really had a hand in all of that, and it really was a miracle. What lessons did we learn? We learned basically that no matter how inadequate we feel or are, maybe, we can have a difference in the through the Lord's hands if it's something that we need to do, which advocating for the family is something we need to do, then the Lord will qualify us or help us. Let's see. Supporting roles. We came up. Well, there's lots of supporting roles kind of in the background that helped Richard Wilkins. We talked about the wife, Melanie, being a major supporting role because, um, I mean, you couldn't have done it without her support and her suggestions. And there's so many times where he just called for the support or love or just needed that. And she really helped a lot, as well as a lot of the people in the same um, shooting for the same goal around him, just kind of helping him, support him, helping him write the papers or write whatever. And it's just amazing how much can go into the cause and how a lot of it gets overlooked. Um, let's see, some consequences or risk of minimizing or eliminating the family. We basically talked about how the family is the fundamental unit of society, and eliminating the family, there's no society, there's no community. The family is where it all starts. And um, in the book, he talked about people, or I mean, in his speech, he talked about how we want to get to the core of problems in our nations and in our society, but really, in order to do that, you can't eliminate family because um, looking to the family is where it all starts and where you can find the core to a lot of problems in society. And then let's see, some suggestions of what we can do or what the author says. that we can do about it is we talked about basically not being afraid or shying away from acting in our communities or in our society just because we feel unqualified. Or we talked about voting, even though we have, I mean, we're only one vote, but really um, that's how our government is run is through the people, and so by our vote we can make a difference in what goes on in the government. And yeah, that's pretty much it, right? Do you have anything to add?
Sounds good to me. Sounds awesome. So,
Okay.
do we want to do 8:30 next week as well?
Yeah, unless you can get a hold of Allison,
Okay.
we need to change it or whatever. I'm
Okay.
willing to change it. So.
Sounds good. Well, good luck getting your son into bed. I have to get my daughter to bed as well. So
Okay.
we'll see how it goes. But anyway, have a
Okay.
good night.
Good night.
Bye.